Hi, this is Terry, and in this video, we're going to talk about simplifying rational expressions. So let's look at our first problem here. We have 3c minus 12 over 16 minus 4c. So we want to see if we can simplify this. So we're going to begin by just looking at the top, the numerator. So we have 3c minus 12. So remember when we talked about factoring out the greatest common factor, we're going to see, so I'm just going to rewrite this over here, 3c minus 12. And we want to think on this, do we have a greatest common factor between those two numbers? So let's write our numbers down here. We have 3 and 12. We always factor the smallest one, so we have 1 times 3. And so we think to ourselves, can 3 divide into 12 evenly? Yes, it can. So 3 is going to be our common factor. So if you remember, we rewrite the equation. So we'll rewrite our top, and we're going to take that 3, and we're going to divide each term by that 3. So when we do that, we say 3 divided by 3, they just cancel, or they make a 1. So we have c minus, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So don't forget, we have to put our parentheses, and then we always have to come back and put our greatest common factor has to go right back in front of our parentheses. Okay, so this is going to be the top part. We have factored out the top part of our equation there, the numerator. So now let's look at the denominator. Okay, so our denominator is 16 minus 4c. So I'm just going to kind of bring it down here so we can see it. Okay, and we want to see if there's anything we can factor out of that. So we always start. So they both have a number, so let's put down the two numbers. And we say 16 and 4, so we always factor the smallest. So we have 1 times 4, and we know that 2 times 2 equals 4. So we're going to start with our biggest number now, which is 4. And we're going to say, hey, can 4 divide into 16 evenly? Yes, it can. So 4 becomes our greatest common factor. All right, so here we go. We write down that problem again. We have 16 minus 4c, that's our denominator. And we take that greatest common factor and we put it under each term. And so when we do that, that actually gives us 16 divided by 4 is 4, minus 4 divided by 4 is just 1, so we have a c. And then remember, we put our parentheses, and whatever our greatest common factor was, which ours was 4, it goes right outside the parentheses there. So that is completely factored. So now we have to put these two guys back together like an original problem. So we have, this was our top right here, remember our numerator, so we're going to put him on top, 3c minus 4, okay, and this was the bottom of our fraction, so we're going to put him on the bottom, 4, and 4 minus c. And when we look at that, we're like, okay, is there anything on the top and the bottom that's the same? Well, there's not anything that's the same, but there's something that's the complete opposite. Look at this. Here we have c minus 4, and here we have 4 minus c. If you ever see anything like that, where they're the complete opposite on the top and the bottom, these two things right here would actually just make a negative 1. They cancel out and make a negative 1. So we're left with that 3 over that 4, right? And that whole thing right there makes a negative 1. So it's like multiplying that times a negative 1. So what is 3/4 times negative 1? That is just negative 3/4. And so we have completely simplified that original expression. All right, so let's look at another one here. So I kind of divide our page a little bit. Okay, so this time let's look at b squared plus 9b plus 18 over b plus 3. All right, so let's look at our numerator first. We have b squared plus 9b plus 18. All right, so we want to see if we can factor that. Hey, this is a trinomial. We've factored those before. So if you remember, we make two sets of parentheses. The letter goes in each one, so b and b, that variable. And then we take the number at the end, which is our 18. We write it down and we're going to factor 18. So we say 1 and 18. 2 times 9 makes 18, 3 times 6. And I think that's as far as we can go. So now we are looking for the set of numbers that can add or subtract to make this plus 9. So 1 and 18, that doesn't make 9. 2 and 9 doesn't add or subtract to make 9. But 3 and 6, they can add together to make 9. So we'll put our 3 and our 6, and their signs, they both have to be positives to make a positive 9. So this is the top of our equation now. We have it completely factored. So that would be b plus 3 and b plus 6. Okay, perfect. That's the top, but the bottom, we still have it. It's b plus 3, right? So now we look at the top and the bottom. Is there anything that's the exact same? Why, yes, we have a b plus 3 here and a b plus 3 here, so we can cancel those two things out. And when we do that, that just leaves us with a b plus 6. And so that is the simplified version of our original problem. Okay, we're going to do one more here. So let's divide our page again, just so we know where we're dividing at. All right, so let's look at this last one here. We've got a squared minus 5a minus 14 all over a squared minus 4. So we always start with our top one. So we're going to write it down, a squared minus 5a minus 14. And we're going to factor it. We have a trinomial. Perfect. We're going to put it in two sets of parentheses. Remember the letter? He goes first. So we have an a in each one. Then we're going to take that number at the end, write it down, and think of ways to multiply to make 14. So 1 times 14, 2 times 7. That's all I know of. All right. So we're figuring out now which set of these numbers can add or subtract to make this middle number -5. Well, 1 and 14 can't add or subtract to make it, but 7 and 2 can. So we need a 2 and a 7, right? And we've got to figure out our signs. And we are looking for, we need a -5. So you can plug this into your calculator. If you remember, we can make them both pluses. We can make them both minuses. We can make one a plus and one a minus. And we can flip it and make the other one a plus and a minus. And so you can just add those and see which ones. Well, this right here, 2 minus 7, is going to get us that -5. So this will be a plus and a minus. All right, so that is our top. It is completed, right? So this, I'm going to circle it. This is the top of our equation. So now let's do the bottom of our equation. So we have on our bottom of our equation, we had a squared minus 4. All right, so hey, when I look at this, I'm like, difference of two squares. I love these ones. So I'm going to take this letter, I put it in the first part of each parenthesis. Then it's always a plus and a minus. And what is the square root of 4? We know that that is 2. All right, so this is the bottom of our equation. It's very important you remember which one is the top and which one is the bottom. So let's take our top over here. We have a plus 2 and a minus 7. And then the bottom of our equation was a plus 2 and a minus 2. Now, we're going to look at the top and bottom. Is there anything that we can cancel out that are the exact same? Yes, we have an a plus 2 and an a plus 2. So we're going to cancel those out. And what are we left with? We're left with a minus 7 over a minus 2. And that is our final answer. That's as far as we can factor down and simplify down.